Hey everyone. Um, so I just felt inspired to share yet another piece on the healing journey. Um, so I want to talk about developmental trauma. So specifically what happens at different stages of our development as we grow up is that we have needs that may not be met. It can be in a traumatic way, it can be less intense than that. But essentially, what the coping strategy that we have when our needs are not met is that there will be pain that we cannot process. It is too much for us to process, or we simply don't have the right supports. We don't have the right adult, the right caretaker, the right friend or mentor to hold space for us to process that, and so it gets lodged and stored within the nervous system. So, in order to cope with that, we develop some kind of role or identity. So, for example, we may develop, let's say, an entertainer type of personality, or a pleaser, or an avoider, or a rebel. And as we grow up, that role, that identity, that mask, that facade only gets enhanced, gets more sophisticated, more complicated. So the rebel may become the activist, the revolutionary, or let's say the victim may become the depressed addict, the hermit. What else is there? There's lots of different identities that can pop up. The entertainer can become somebody who is in the entertaining industry, or somebody who needs the stage to get that attention, to get that love. The pleaser just becomes somebody that constantly serves others, that has a self-worth value system based on giving and helping others, or rescuing others for that matter. So when we do the work, so in my personal experience, this has happened many times. Every time I go back to a developmental stage that was missed, or when I work with clients, it is the same thing that happens. Once the facade is made conscious, once that identity is disidentified from, and we kind of go, oh, wow, I've been acting this way. This is not real. This isn't who I really am. There's a deep unraveling that happens, and that is necessary to happen. And it's basically an ego part death that occurs. So as that identity begins to crumble, and that's a very uncomfortable process because that has given us safety for a very long time. The discomfort also comes from the fact that, oh my God, people will find out I was fake, I was false, I was phony, I was an impersonator, or how the hell do I live now? I have no idea who I am. This is a completely natural part of the process. And so as that begins to unravel, if we don't grasp and hold on to aspects of it or try to form another personality to take its place, we are forced to face with the pain that we couldn't process back then at the developmental stage. We have the space hold for it. If we're lucky, we'll have someone to hold space for us to do that. And so we have to face that pain. When the pain is dissolved, we become in touch with the unmet need or needs. So I'm not allowed to speak, I'm not seen, I'm not valuable, worthwhile, just as I am. Whatever that may be, whatever the need is that wasn't met back then from the inner child, comes up in our nervous system, comes up in our consciousness. And this is the time where we need to meet it in some way, or at the very least, to allow it and to acknowledge it. If we can meet it, that's the deepest healing happens at that place, because now with that need met at that developmental stage, the child feels okay, fulfilled, can now develop and grow within our nervous system into a healthier version of themselves and integrate into the adult. So in terms of supporting others on this journey and in this process, when somebody is unraveling, well, the first part is to be able to reflect the identity, the false identity they've been holding. And then it is about being with the unraveling process. And if somebody hasn't experienced it themselves, if the healer or therapist hasn't gone through it, it's impossible to do. Because naturally, whoever's attempting to hold space cannot hold the space they don't hold in themselves. And so when a person is unraveling, and I'm very close, intimate with them energetically, emotionally, on every level, to help them down the rabbit hole. And when we get there, when we get to the end of that in some way, because the end is kind of a ambiguous statement here, but once we get to the needs, then it is about asking the right questions and holding the right states as a therapist, as a healer, in order to support the person to meet the needs of their inner child. So I just wanted to share this piece specifically around this kind of spiritual crisis, personality crisis, this ego dissolution, whatever we want to call it. It's just deep healing on the inner child level. I wanted to share this experience and this understanding and this insight to people out there who may be going through it, who may not understand what's happening while this is going on and have a freak out potentially. And also just to reach out to those people in your life, or those supports, or those healers, or those therapists who can hold you through that. And just to encourage that, yes, there's the light at the end of the tunnel. Because once we get to this place of meeting that need, there's no more pain. And we're still in a place of, oh my God, I have no idea who I am now. It is at that point that we can bring more of our authenticity of the child that hasn't been allowed before into our lives. We can choose what role or identity we'd like to play from then on. We can let our beingness, our authenticity to permeate the new role and identity that we choose for ourselves. So if you like this content, please click subscribe below, and my contact details are there as well if you'd like to get in touch or if you'd like my support. Thank you. I'll see you next time.